Okay, everybody. So what I thought I would do now is to try to make a new view from start to finish. I don't know if it's going to work out, but let's try it. And what this view is going to be is by host name. I think it would be neat that for each, right? And think of a view as an HTML page with its own URL. And that URL, in this case, is dynamic. Isn't that incredible? They could type in any host name after show VLAN or show VRF or whatever. And it will take them to, if it's in the database, that host name's VLANs or VRFs or whatever. So I thought I would try this since our last video really explored the modeling and I just copy and pasted some existing views. Let's try to write a view from scratch. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the views that we have already. If you just go to your local host and delete it, these are all of our views. And we have, 13 minus the admin page, so 12 different views. And you can see the dynamic URLs and what they expect. So instead of string operating system, let's try string hostname. Now, I've had a look, and in our models, it's not universal. For learn VLAN and learn VRF, it will be this host name field. But show version, maybe we can pick. Well, see, I might blow away the database and add these two fields. Well, I already have operating system, but see, this operating system is like the learned operating system. It's not the PyETS operating system. So I might need to adjust the show version model to have this host name to make a universal view for the host name. Similarly for show versions operating system, I think it's using this OS. So I might need to rename this field to, OS, device OS or PyETS OS versus the other OS. I don't know. But let's just work on this view for now with learn VLAN. And I'll come back and refactor show version later. So we know the key that we want is host name from our model. All right, so let's make our URL and let's just start with learn VLAN. And we're just going to copy and paste this. And what we're going to do is change this to be host name. And instead of learn VS OS archive, this is going to be host name archive. All right, so right away we know we need a new web page inside of the templates learn VLAN. So let's just copy OS and rename it. Let's rename it. Sorry, my keyboard's in an awkward position because I'm trying to move my microphone closer, so I'm a little louder. And this is going to be host name. And then this is, instead of for operating system, it's for host name. And that's for host name. Otherwise, the table is all the same. Okay, so we have our HTML page. We have our URL. Now, the key here is the view. And I'm hoping we can refactor the operating system view. And instead of learn OS archive, this is going to be learn hostname archive. And that's going to be host name. And this is going to be, let's keep it simple, host name equals host name. And then again, let's just copy it here. And then instead of VLAN list V, no, we're going to leave that. That is what we want. And then this here is hostname archive. Now, I believe that's all we really need to do to make our new view. I think. So let's try it out. Let's run our server. And let's refresh this. Now there it showed up here, my host name. So let's try it. Now I need a host name. So let's go to Learn VLAN 2021. All right, so there's the host name. So in theory, I should be able to do this. And it's the page is there and the header is there, but my body is empty. So there's something in my for loop that's not quite working here. But we're pretty close. We're pretty close. Instead of fumbling around and troubleshooting live, I don't know how long this is going to take. Let me see if I can find out what's going on with that table, that for loop. And we're pretty close though. All right, I'll be right back. Thanks. Okay, so it makes sense. I understand what's going on now. And you might be watching this saying, John, it's right there in front of you. So what's happening is I had OS and hostname at the same level. So it was treating the host names I was typing in as an operating system, and it wasn't finding it. Everything else was working. And now I'm going to show you something on how I tested this to make sure that it was working. Because I'll show you where I thought the problem was, and then I eliminated that problem, and then it led me to this other discovery. So here's where I thought the problem was. I thought that maybe the filter wasn't working here in the view. How do I know that vlist is not empty? Because in my template, right, I'm calling for VLAN in vlist. And it was just, I couldn't get this VLAN list to populate. So it seemed. Okay, but that wasn't the real problem. And here's how I did the troubleshooting there. I went into the CLI at Python. All right, so let me do this. Python. Let me clear my screen to make it easy to see. So we go into Python. And now I can actually import that learn VLAN function, and then let's see. Okay, so that should work. I'm doing learn VLAN.objects.filter and then pyets alias equals, and then what would be in the browser's URL, and I have a data set there. So I know that this filter is actually working. Now, you'll notice here I'm kind of showing you the solution. The solution was to add add a tier, sort of like we did with month. So we have year and then we tack on month. Well, I did the same with operating system and then I tacked on the host name. Now I could do this for every one of these other functions and have a, show version year and host name, or show version year and operating system, right? We're going to build up our library of views. So you can also see I changed it to pyets alias. I thought maybe hostname was a keyword. So I changed it to be pyets alias. That wasn't the problem. So now let's turn the server on and I'll show you how this all works. And it's just magical. It really is incredible. So let me go to the local 8000. I wish 8000 would become my default instead of 8080 here. All right. And now you can see, here's what I'm talking about, right? I can't have, so I can't have operating system and alias at the same level here. I already have a string level, so let's nest it a level. So let's take a look. If I go to learn VLAN NXOS, there's my results. And let's say this was full of a bunch of devices. Well, I just take the device, tack it on, and then I have the results for that individual device. Okay, so that is a view from start to finish with a little hiccup and some learning. So we've done a model and a view in the controller from start to finish. Now it's just a matter of plowing through all of my other templates and all those great, amazing pyets functions and building this library up. I'm going to continue to make these videos and record as I go. I think it's valuable both to me as I learn and maybe to you if you're following along and enjoying these videos. I'd love to hear from you on Twitter, John_Capobianco, automateyournetwork.ca, GitHub, Automate Your Network, LinkedIn, everywhere but Facebook. That's limited to family. So anyway, feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear what you think about this and if you're going to maybe try it yourself. Thanks a lot. Stay safe, everybody. Bye now.